As you can see, I do work out in the dirt. So what magic happens. It's gonna be a hot freaking day today. I'll work on it for a little while. And this is basically my setup. Not much. I may bust out the tent and the jack on there, getting ready to go here. Pick these up. eBay or the Amazonian one. Can't remember. They're like 60 bucks. You can pay up to 200 something bucks for these. But these go back in there somewhere for a camper. I'm hoping they'll help with tow as well. I don't know. I realized when I lowered this car, I started messing with tow, and the tow is actually out a little bit, and I think that's why it's so squirrely coming into corners. I mean, you let off the gas. Front end, I kind of got it dialed in. I'll show you when I get to there. I have some adjustable front lower control arms. They're pretty cool. Got lucky, picked them up some guy on Craigslist, I believe, for I don't know, like 150 bucks. I think they're normally close to 300 bucks. I can't remember the company right now. They don't make them anymore because, well, there's not many of these cars left. There's a few of them, but they've been pretty cool. They've helped a lot with the adjustments and whatnot. Anyway, so hopefully these work. They seem to be built somewhat decent. You know, 60 bucks. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so I got it up in the air. Wheel off. So basically this piece right here, I think it goes this way. It's got the adjustment. It's pretty stiff. It does turn, but it's pretty stiff. And that goes here to adjust the camber. Wouldn't mind cambering it a little bit in. What I do, and you'll see when I get the stock or the rally wheels on, I add an inch spacer and then put the wheel on it. It's pretty wide and it does rub. I've rolled this a little and I'm beating it in. Let's see. I'm doing this with my phone. If I get any kind of interest in this, maybe I'll get an actual camera, but I'll probably beat this more in if I remember to before I put the wheel on. It has cut the side of my wheel tire before. Yeah, so right now I gotta, oh Jesus, I gotta get lots of bolts off, so I'm gonna spray things and then also, so you do that, I gotta disconnect the sway bar just so I can drop things. I remember this was a bitch to get the other springs out. So this is my spring. This is my Rally rear spring. I believe, if I can remember correctly, I know I at least did this in the front. I ordered station wagon springs. They're super cheap at O'Reilly's. I ordered these polyurethane, I don't know what you call them, cushions, bushings. Now stock, they're thinner than this, and I think they're only on the bottom. So right now with these lowered springs, I have a set of these, I think from Prothane, if I remember correctly. Right now I have these on there just because it so it didn't clack or whatever. I don't know, I think it was kind of loose in here, it seemed like. So basically I have one of these at each end and the wagon spring, and it basically lifts this car up about an inch in the rear from stock, from when it was when I got it stock. That doesn't mean I don't know if it was sagged over the years. And I got these cheesy Excel KYB shocks. They're not great at all. I think I have to disconnect that if I remember correctly. It's been about 6 months since I lowered this thing, maybe more. Yes, it does have the fancy stainless steel from Russell. that was one of the last things I did to this car too. I think they were like 60 bucks for the set, front and rear. I threw them on. The front ones were looking kind of weak, so I figured, what the hell. So hopefully that's something I never have to mess with again. But yeah, I'm gonna dig into this. I'm gonna spray everything right now with lube and start working on things. And by the way, so this is where I work, out in the dirt. One place I've worked in a car, on the side and on the road. My tools, where I keep my tools, back to this house. So I had to bring stuff out. Anyway, what I was getting at is, broke down. I bought this last year, kind of for when I'm at Rally. So I have some tools and they're all kind of organized. Which is kind of cool. They got the big numbers because I'm old and blind now. It's not too bad, but like this kind of shit. Look at this. It's already the chrome or whatever it is, the coating is already coming off. This is less than a year old. Craftsman is just really, it's gone downhill. I'm sorry to say. This, as soon as I used it, it broke. I had to go take it back and return this. I have Craftsman 3/8 ratchet from, shoot, I don't know, 30 years ago. Still work. This, I don't know, I'm not too stoked with this setup, but I was chipping away from those. But yeah, I can't recommend Craftsman anymore, unfortunately. You know, yeah, it's sad. Ever since I lost Sears, it's been just pretty crappy. Anyway, my 2 cents of bitching. Alright, so I got the sway bars off. Sway bar off. Shocks off. And I got this camber control arm thingy, whatever it's called, goes right there, and that. A little bit of a bitch, but not too bad. So this is the stock one. This is the new $60 Ishme. I think it's Ishme or the Rainforest Amazon one. This one is heavier, so that's good. Not really, but maybe I should have paid about the $250 aluminum ones. No. So anyway, as you can see, if I get this on here right, a little bit shorter. Maybe this way is better. Maybe this one here while holding the. As you can see, they do become shorter because that's what I think I need. We can go a little bit shorter. I think this can go a couple rotations in. As it sits right now, it looks like it sits about a 1/4 of an inch in. Seems a lot. I'm going to try it. I'll make them both the same and go with that. This goes in here. So what you need to do to adjust it is unbolt it, screw it out, and then bolt it back in. So it's not super easy to adjust, but it's not hard. Nothing on this car is too hard. It's so light and easy. And I mean, the biggest bolts on it are, I think, are like 18, 19 millimeter. You know, you just get a bar on it. Things work pretty well. So that's my next step. I did disconnect this bolt to get the spring out, and I'll get the new spring in. I'll show you. That's the stock station wagon, I think. I don't remember if I actually changed them. It may just be stock and then the lowered. That's the difference. And with these, it makes it roughly, I think, an inch higher. Seems to me. The other way to do it would be to lower the subframe back here. I think there's 4 bolts, like here, and you could drop this whole suspension down. I don't know if it'd mess with this. It probably would. I don't know any more than I'm messing with it now. You know, geometries are kind of off. You can see this bar, this comes forward. This thing is pretty tweaked. I mean, it's gonna go back up. You know, it's sitting pretty low right now. Yeah, so I'm gonna get this back together and I'll show you where I am at that point. All right, just because I'm anal like this, let's see, units. So, the stock, 3 pounds, 1 ounce. This is 4 pounds, 8 ounces. Yeah. So it's over a pound heavier, £1.5 pounds heavier. You know. So just so. All right, I wanted to show you. So I set these up. Finally, I just made them the same. I went with an 1/8 inch shorter than the stock. I don't want to go too crazy right now. I don't know how much it'll move it. Oh, that's what I wanted to show you. So these deals, as you can see, they're not even. The insert that was pressed in. That's my neighbor, by the way, cutting grass. He can do that. It's okay. This one is, it's probably a 16th off. You know, not super professional. Yes, I've left them loose, but when I get them in, and I'll tighten them after. Back here, they're even worse. Side to side, they're both pretty much that way. Now, they're sort of opposite, like, you know, they mirror each other, which is, I guess, sort of good. Except for those, they're both wide on the same side. I mean, they're basically the same part. They're just, there's no reason why they wouldn't be. So, but if I mirror it, it'll be off because it'll go up a thread. So, but whatever. I mean, you know, this is what I'm dealing with. Yeah, so I'm gonna get this on. By the way, I'm not a professional. I've always worked on my own cars. I'm 50 years old, 51, almost 52. I've worked on my cars since, you know, high school. I took auto in high school, welding. I've been in construction since then, but yeah. So anyway, I'll get these on and, all right, so I had to use this lift to lift this up to get that bolt in. As you can see, I kind of noticed this before, but the shock, you know, this is fully down. This is about as far as it'll go, pretty much just because of binding. So the shock pretty much acts as the limiting strap. The right thing to do would to add a limiting strap. Find the end of how far the shock goes down and do that. As you can see, it's way off camber when it's all the way down there. So we don't want it down that low anyway. Yeah, so I think, well, actually I think between the sway bar that connects to this hole, somewhat acts, I mean, things just bind up enough that it doesn't completely destroy the shock, I think, but the shock acts as a limiting strap, because I do, like I said, we do catch air once in a while. In our stage, or whatever you call it, class, we are not supposed to be catching air, but it happens, you know. And just the amount of bumps and stuff we hit, we just completely you know, droop the suspension and compress the suspension. So anyway, just wanted to show that to you. I'm gonna get this connected, the shock connected, and then I'm on to the other side. So here's the problem. I found out that 60 bucks gets you. That runs into the shock. It will not get in there, and it's going to rub hard against that shock. Now this one, I'm trying to figure out the difference. I don't see how that'll make a difference. Maybe this one's bent the other way. I suppose it kind of looks like, you can't really see, but it kind of looks like it's a little fatter on this side than this side. But I mean, the center is the center. I don't know. Anyway, I guess I'll swap the arms, see if it fits. I don't know how much material I could grind out of there to make that fit, but even the set bolt or squeezy bolt thing would hit too. Maybe I could swap those around or grind on that a little bit. Yeah, this is what happens when you pay cheap money for parts. So, performance parts. So, what do you know? I swapped it around, and there's a little bit of space in there. It's hitting, it's just almost hitting this pinch bolt. But I'm gonna let the suspension down a little bit. See what yeah, it does hit that pinch bolt. That will rub into that shock tube. And it's close to oranges. I really don't like it. I may shave a little bit off there. I mean, it's not like I'm gonna be doing 100 miles an hour in this thing. But I'm gonna definitely grind on this thing a little bit and put it back in there. There is some gappage in there though, so it might be okay. We'll see. Anyway. Alright, so I ground this thing down a little bit. Where is it? There, it's compared to original one. A little bit. So it's, I don't know, I'd say 3/32 seconds. I just wanted to leave some sort of bite for the Allen wrench, and I just hit it with some paint. It's wet, of course, and you can see I took some of it off. So we'll see what that does. Hopefully, and I take back what I said about the $60 cheap. This is what you get. These are made for when you're lowered. So as it goes lower, the suspension comes up. This is going to go further away from the shock. So actually, if you're doing lowered suspension, it's going to work for you. But the thing is, what I realized is, so when it's stock, it's straight. I don't know how to explain this. When you go lower, it goes in. When you raise it, it goes, you know. Basically, when you raise it, the wheel goes out. When you lower it, the wheel goes in. So this thing is meant to pull out, adjust out. I want it to adjust in a little bit so they're not kicked out a little bit. And they don't really kick out, but also I'm hoping a little bit of camber will keep it from hitting here. I did massage this some more with my fender roller. Did it pretty good. I got it out more. There's a, anyway, it's getting ahead of myself. So yeah, I think that's gonna work. And I did flip the other one, so you gotta pay attention which one goes in, or just, you know, put one in, doesn't work, just swap it out, put the other one in. All right, it's all on. You can see the nut, or the bolt side, doesn't hit. But looks like arm, I mean, there's a just a hair between it. So I can pull it away and make a gap, sort of. I'm gonna call it good. What is concerning about those, and I'll keep my stock lenses, I do plan on putting, if everything works right in my budget next month or so, coilovers on this thing. I don't know totally how the coilover design is in the back. I think it's an adjustable coil here and a nice shock here. I'm not sure if it's wider though. If it's wider, I'm kind of screwed here. This is my setup. I put a 1-inch spacer to make it a little bit wider on the back. Just so, again, just trying to make it stable when I slide. And these are the wheels. These Sparkos from I got them from, whatchamacallit, Tire Rack, with these winter tires on. This is what I run in the rear for now. I love the rims, the wheels, super cool. The tires are not too bad, they're too soft right here. They're actually, from what I understand, they're not supposed to run winter tires over, like, I don't know, 60 degrees or something, 70 degrees. Of course, we're driving in, like, 80, 90 degree weather out here. And so, but they get a little chewed up. They're not too bad. They held up pretty good at the rear end. The front end, when I first had them on, they chewed them up pretty well. But I only did a few races, and then someone ended up at Rally, ended up having a set of 15s for me. Well, not for me, but ended up having a set of 15s that I purchased from him, got off him. Same size, I believe, 205 60 15, but they're wider, like the tread's wider, but they're cool. They're actually Rally tires. Yeah, and I got them off him. They're getting chewed up. They've been through 2 seasons now, and you'll see those when I get to the front. So yeah, that's the setup in the rear. So I had to run into town, figure out stuff at the local hardware store. Try to find a clip for the shock. Maybe. Nothing. Huh. Maybe these. That might work. Huh. Nothing. Maybe you can make something out of that. No. Welcome to 2022. All right, you got the other side done. Well, in the rear anyway. Everything's back together except for the sway bar. Still need to do the sway bar. But this side, it's got, a good 1/16 between. This the other side doesn't. But as it cycles, which I didn't explain the other side, this is full droop. As it cycles, as I put weight on it, it'll space. The other side will have space, but it'll go away from each other. This should be, technically this is the closest you'll ever get because the shock is keeping it from going down. And yeah, in the future, I want to do, limiting straps, but like I said, I don't want to do that yet because hopefully within the next, month or two, I'll have coilovers on this thing. So that's the plan. so spun her on the block. That's pretty much how high she sits on the back. May change once I put the front back up. But so that's some pretty good clearance there. The other reason, in case you were wondering, if I went with the 15s, it's much easier to find rally tires. And speaking of which, this is the front, one of the fronts, actual rally tire. They're a little bit cheaper, and I don't know why, for whatever reason, they make them all 15s. 15, 16, sometimes you find 17, that's like the WRC guys. But there you go, thank you. So that's the rear end. Probably make this one video and then the front end a separate video. I think this video kind of took long, or well, we'll see once I edit it. Yeah, and if people, or if there's interest in it, I'll do the front, and if I get some interest in it, maybe I'll actually buy a real camera instead of just using my phone. You know, it's been kind of funky. So. Alright guys, thank you.